Hello, everyone. Welcome to Education Quest Live. I am Jason, as I have been with you with most of these, and today I've got RJ with me. RJ is one of our college planning specialists out of our Lincoln office, and he is here today to chat with us about summer melt and what you can be doing over this summer to make sure that you're prepared for college this fall. So if you have any questions about any of that, you can hit us up on the comment section down below in Facebook and on YouTube, comment sections over to the side. So drop any of your questions that you have about planning for college or what you need to be doing. I've had people ask me over the last couple of weeks we've seen on Twitter and Facebook about like, am I doing this right? And am I ready? So those are all great questions to put into those comment sections, and RJ will help us navigate through all that stuff. So without further ado, we're going to get started. And our first question is just to kind of explain this whole summer melt thing. I think a lot of our viewers probably aren't familiar with what that term is. So when we talk about summer melt, RJ, what are we talking about?
Well, what's going on, everybody? RJ Vega, Education Quest Foundation. Summer melt. Today we're going to talk about that. That is kind of this phenomenon where students are all set to go to college. You know, you've been a senior in high school, graduate, you've turned in your admissions application, you've filled out financial aid paperwork, but for whatever reason, it could be due to external factors, things happening around you, or internal factors, things you're feeling. For whatever reason, summer melt is where the student does not make it to college in the fall.
So basically, they've done the basic, the first part of it, right? They've got their admissions applications, and you think they're on track for college, but then something happens in the summer, and they don't show up in the fall, basically, right?
Correct. Yeah, and one of the biggest, I guess, tips or suggestions I can give you right now is number one, make sure your paperwork is turned in with regards to the college. You know, whether it be something from the admissions office, maybe they need a final high school transcript, which usually the high school counselors will ask the student what their college option is going to be so they can send that final transcript to them over the summer. Or maybe it's something like a vaccination record for the college health center. Okay, so check your email. I can't stress it enough, and I preach that all the time. Students, check your email. The colleges will typically communicate with you through email and let you know what you need to round up for information. And also, oftentimes colleges have student portal accounts. These type of accounts where you'll eventually sign up for classes, but those accounts are also, the portal accounts are where the college can post things that you need to do. Whether you still need to turn in something for admissions or turn in a verification paper for the financial aid office.
So I think it's easier for students, obviously, while they're in school because they're kind of into that routine of, you know, having to check their email, like you said, for school assignments or something. So I think that's a lot what leads to that summer melt is that now you don't have that kind of routine of doing those types of things. So for students, they really should be, you know, logging on a regular basis. But how often should that be? You know, how often would you suggest that they log into their student portal?
You know, I would probably recommend, me being kind of the way I'm wired, I would say maybe at least weekly to quick log in, make sure nothing's changed, make sure the college isn't waiting on anything. You know, honestly, it'll take you 90 seconds. You log in, check your account, there's nothing there, then go about your day. Okay? But speaking of the summer and maybe not being in that school mindset, you know, school's over, can we give a shout out to all the counselors? You know, a lot of those counselors during the school year will be chasing after you. Hey, did you turn in this? Did you do this? You know, students, now that those counselors maybe aren't in the picture, you know, it's a little more onto you to really check that email and check your student accounts.
You'll really find out quickly how much you appreciate the work that they do for you over the year, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what should, you know, graduation was a lot of our, I think a lot of our viewers, at least a lot of the seniors and stuff that are tuning in, recently went through graduation. So what can they be doing, recent graduate students, right now to make sure that they're ready for college this fall?
You know, I think number one, a good thing for recent graduates to do would be to just kind of take a deep breath and maybe take a little bit of a rest, a mental rest, recharge period, spend some time with your family. You know, and honestly, Summertime, you'll have that kind of transition time. You'll start thinking about college, and maybe you'll get some of the emotions with that, whether it be, excitement, whether it be a little bit of nervousness, and that's okay. But I would probably say try to allocate a little bit of you time. Okay, time for you to read some books of something that you enjoy reading, or play video games, or whatever, some you time, because keep in mind, once college starts, a lot of those study habits and the pace of the academic course load, okay, that's going to go up a notch compared to maybe what you've done through high school. So definitely take some deep breaths, enjoy a little bit of your time this summer, spend some family time, and get ready for college.
So what about registration stuff? Is there anything that they're going to need to do with a college over the summer? Are there events or something that the colleges have that they should be maybe registering for right now?
Oh, you bet. Many colleges will offer some sort of an orientation type event or orientation day. And this is their opportunity to get you to their campus. And oftentimes there's some sort of a more detailed tour of the campus, the facilities, the different resources for you. They'll probably show you the residence halls if you're planning to live on campus. But also they're going to help you sign up for classes. And oftentimes you'll be able to sit down with an academic advisor. And you'll say, okay, I want to be an education major. And I want to teach high school students. Okay, then they might give you a series of classes that you could consider to sign up for. On the other hand, maybe you're totally undecided. You don't know what you want to major in just yet, and that's okay too. Those academic advisors can help guide you and get you some of those general classes that will not only fulfill your schedule there for freshman year of college, but also help give you some exposure to some different subject areas to help you formulate just exactly what you want to major in.
So we have, it looks like a parent tuning in, and they had a question about what parents can do to help their students avoid that summer melt and filling out school this fall.
For parents, I think a lot of the benefit or help that they can offer will be that showing that support for the student. Sometimes students, and I remember myself as the student, my parents would ask me, hey, how are you doing? Everything going okay? And I'd be quick to say, yeah, I got this, I'm fine. But just to be able to communicate with your students that you're supportive of them, and if they need anything in this time as they get ready for college, that you're there, that you'll listen. That's a big thing too. And just helping them also kind of create some of those opportunities for family time. So that way you as a family can hopefully spend some time together, because you're aware that coming up in college, the students' time will be probably allocated towards studying and doing their classes.
I think something I've kind of learned as a parent, and I think it carries over to this, is with my daughters and stuff, being specific about stuff and knowing what's going on. So I think parents can utilize our website and the resources, even though, that stuff's kind of built on, what that student needs to be doing. Mm-hmm. But instead of just saying, are you prepared for school this fall? Really saying, like, did you get your student orientation packet in? Have you applied for your student loans? Have you done your financial aid? Have you completed your FAFSA? I mean, asking them specifically those types of questions.
Exactly.
I always get the feeling like my students kind of respond a little bit better to that, and are a little bit more open and forthcoming. And so I'd say for parents that are kind of wondering, what can I do to help my student get through that summer, is to really know, read the stuff on our website, read our blogs, because I know we do some really good blogs for the summer that kind of help with what should you be doing right now. Read that stuff and say, is that something my student's done, and ask them about that stuff.
Oh, definitely. And a big thing too is just showing that genuine interest in the student's process, interest and respect.
Yeah. Because then it opens up that avenue of building that relationship and really kind of helping you find some things before they go off to college. And it's going to be a transition. I know we've written stuff and talked about the empty nest syndrome and stuff, where the kid leaves and you're just like all of a sudden going, I'm so used to having the noise of everything,
exactly,
and it's not there anymore. So.
Oh yeah, and even as a to capitalize on that topic a little bit, parents, if this is your first time having a student go into college, or maybe it's like your youngest child is going to college, oftentimes keep in mind that relationship will change a little bit once the student starts their college experience. Oftentimes there's a lot of growth there from both the student and the parent. So whereas a student, their time may be occupied a little bit more coming up in the fall, they'll start to realize, I really value mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, in a different way. So just kind of keep that open mind too, going forward.
And then if you have any questions about this as a parent of a student, whether that's your first student going, maybe it's the first person in the family to go to college, maybe you didn't go to college yourself, and this is all really new to you. Yep. Summer is a great time to come into the offices or call our offices and talk to any one of us about what you need to know and what your student needs to be doing to make sure that they're on track for college. I think a lot of people I've had people tell me just anecdotally about, I just kind of assumed that, the school year's over, so you guys don't work, like you get the summer off like teachers and stuff. But no, we're in the office. So call any one of our offices, schedule an appointment, come on in. And I'm sure any one of the specialists, RJ or anyone else, would be happy to kind of make sure that you and your student are both, prepared and ready to go.
Exactly. También hablamos español for all you Spanish speakers.
What he said. So what about, let's talk about living on campus, because I think that's kind of another big transition thing for seniors. And so if they're planning on living on campus, if they're going to a school, down the road or out of state or something, what do they need to be doing to make sure that they're ready as it pertains to their living in on campus?
Yeah. Again, number one would be to make sure that your campus housing paperwork is complete. That if you had to give some sort of a deposit, that you have submitted that deposit, and also think about if you have a roommate or multiple roommates. On one hand, are they somebody that you know from high school? Are you rooming with a friend? At the dorms there. If so, then maybe start initiating those conversations and saying, these are the types of things I can bring to the room, whether it be, some type of a computer or a television, or who's bringing the PlayStation. So kind of start having those initial conversations. If you are going to be living on campus and living with a roommate that you do not yet know, then maybe now in the summer is a good time to reach out to them. Oftentimes the housing departments there will assign you your dorm room, and they'll let you know who your roommate is going to be. They'll give you a name. Okay? And keep in mind, these housing departments oftentimes will have some sort of when you filled out your housing application, some sort of a survey that'll ask you about your likes, dislikes, what your living preferences are, and what they'll do is try to align you with somebody who has similar preferences. So if you can, over the summer, maybe reach out to that person, cup of coffee, if it's within a similar distance of where you live, and maybe start initiating those conversations. Who's going to bring what when it's time to move in the fall?
That was really interesting. I heard from a friend last year. She was going to school, and she had a roommate from Des Moines. They were going to go to Lincoln, and they had contacted, and I think it was like March or something when they first got their assignment and that stuff, and so they were working this all out, and they had figured out that they could go to this thrift show kind of thing that was halfway between Omaha and Des Moines, and so they could basically go shopping and do their whole decorating thing, all kinds of stuff I don't understand, but they did it all. It was really kind of cool. So they got to meet face to face, and they got to interact, and they got to kind of design and work on what they wanted their dorm room to be like, kind of all over the summer. So it's a good opportunity for them to kind of make that connection and kind of start building that relationship.
Oh, definitely. Oh yeah, and keep in mind that if you are going to live on campus, then there's most likely going to be some sort of a resident assistant or somebody there on the floor to help initiate your getting used to living on campus, help you connect you with resources, and help you get acclimated to living with somebody else. Any roommate conversations, they can mediate those too. So I know oftentimes if you're going to be living with somebody who you may not know, there's those initial feelings of, I don't know this person, what's going on? Yeah. Keep in mind the colleges are doing a good job of helping to appease some of those concerns. So communication is going to be big.
It's amazing what they have on the back end too to help facilitate the connection of roommates.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So what about student loans? I think that's kind of the other big thing that students have to kind of deal with over the summer. What specifically, paperwork or something, that are they going to have to do this summer to make sure their loan stuff is taken care of for the fall?
Yeah, definitely. So when it comes to student loans, it all starts with having filled out your free application for federal student aid, your FAFSA. Okay, you successfully completed that. Remember, it opened up back in October of senior year of high school, October 1st. But hopefully you filled out your FAFSA. Hopefully you did it correctly, so that way it went through. And so the college will then create a financial aid package with your FAFSA information and any scholarships you've applied for and received. So again, the college will create this package of aid. They'll present that to you, typically online through your student portal account. And then there on the student portal account is where you'll typically say yes or no to each source of financial aid that you want to use. So on that account, if you say, yes, I want to accept a student loan, okay, then the action you need to do then is you would have to go to the website studentloans.gov. You would log in with your FSA ID, username and password, if you remember that from the FAFSA. You would log in, and there you'd have to do your 2 steps. Okay, you'd have to do what's called a master promissory note, where you read about the loans and then essentially sign for the loans, agreeing to pay them back.
It's basically the terms and conditions
Terms
of
and
that
conditions,
loan.
Yep. And then also the other step on studentloans.gov is that you do what's called entrance loan counseling, where you have to answer some interactive questions showing that you understand the responsibility you're taking on with the loans. So make sure that you have completed those steps on studentloans.gov, so that way the college can then receive that loan money into the student account there, and then once the fall semester starts, they'll run your student bill, and that'll be your tuition bill, your books and supplies if you charge them to through the on-campus bookstore, and then your housing expense as well if you live on campus. The college will run that student bill, and they'll pay those things with your financial aid, including the student loans. So again, that's kind of a process there.
Right.
And a lot of questions come up from that.
So we've talked about student loans and some of the other live videos and stuff. Mm-hmm. With those 2 things that you mentioned, the master promissory note and the counseling, are those things the students have to do every summer?
No. It's going to be that initial year. You fill out do those 2 steps, okay? And then going forward, assuming you do not transfer out of the school, then you should be good going forward. Now, one thing that came up in my mind is sometimes parents may need to take out what's called a Parent Plus loan.
And I was just going to ask you if there was anything different for parents, since we had some parents watching. So
again, going back to that financial aid award letter that's found on the online student portal account through the college, if the parent and the student say yes to accepting a Parent Plus loan on that online account, then the parent will need to go to studentloans.gov, and there the parent will need to log in with their parental FSA ID username and password. Not the one in the student's name, but the one in the parent's name. So the parent will log in, and there the parent will have to complete a master promissory note, terms and conditions, agreeing to repay the loan once they enter repayment.
So we had a question come in. We talked earlier about how students and parents can reach out to Education Quest at any one of our 4 offices, mm-hmm. And talk to someone about what they can do over the summer to make sure that they're on track for school. We talked about the guidance counselors kind of guiding them through up until the end of school year, but now kind of with that dropping off, is there anyone else that students can reach out to for some help over the summer to make sure that they're kind of on track?
Oh, yeah. Don't be afraid to reach out to your college representatives, the admissions office, if you have any questions specific to that school, or if there's anything financial aid related, definitely reach out to their financial aid staff. Also, a good suggestion is to, in addition to reaching out to us, maybe if you know of any family members who have gone through college or other friends, loved ones, kind of pick their brains and just get different perspectives about how to get transitioned into college, and yeah, I think above anything else, just kind of take that deep breath and just realize, okay, I'm starting a brand new chapter in something. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's okay, because this is going to be a step forward in a much larger journey, and it's definitely a step worth taking.
So to wrap things up, that's all the serious stuff that we had to talk about. But as you mentioned, kind of the decompression piece of it, what can students do that's fun over the summer? Like, give them one thing that they should do that's just kind of off the wall and enjoyable.
You know, it kind of depends on who you are and how you're wired. I personally, with me and my friends, we had some really great video game sessions. You know, back in my day, it was the Nintendo 64. So we would play a lot of like professional wrestling games and stuff, just nonstop. Looking back on it, that was just so much fun. Zero stress, bunch of laughs. You know.
Yeah.
So just try to find some fun things there with your friends. Maybe even some of your high school friends while they're still in town, if anyone's moving away, and just kind of enjoy the summer.
Yeah, I'd say, I guess the tip I would give them, something fun to do, is take a road trip. That's something I did, before, is even if it's just, one state over or something, grabbed a couple friends, got in the car, drove, we'd camp out or something just to kind of keep costs down and stuff. But it's amazing how much fun you can have, on a budget, just getting out and seeing something new, getting some very devoted time with those friends before you all kind of split up and go different ways with college. So
definitely.
So those are great things that students can do and stuff that you need to do to make sure that you're on track for college this fall. So this video will be out there. You can rewatch it. If you have any other questions or anything, we do monitor the comment section after the video is live. So go ahead and put those questions into the comments. And we'll reach back out. We'll get those answers for you if you have anything specific there. So you don't have to worry about, if you missed it or something, or if you are watching this when it's not live and it's a recorded video. We're still here paying attention and listening. And so put those comments in there. And obviously, if you have any questions or anything, you can reach out to us on social media. We're very active there and love to get questions and that from viewers and followers and that stuff. And while you're there, you're going to want to hit the follow button. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, we give away and will continue to give away a $500 scholarship to students once we hit certain benchmarks. So there's some links and stuff in our feed for that. And then once we hit the benchmark, we just tweet out a link. You click the link, it's basic contact information, and we draw a name out of a hat, basically. So a really easy way that you can get some money. Even if you're going to college this fall, you're still eligible. So make sure that you get in and follow us and tell your friends to follow us so that we hit that benchmark and you get the money.
It's $500. Wow.
And I can't think of an easier way to get $500. I really can't. So follow us on social. We really appreciate that. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. And we will see you next month for another edition of Education Quest Live. See ya.
Thank you.